We are live. Thank you for joining me for Young Jedi Adventure Season 2, Episode 10, The Wild Acklyrr slash Liz's Lost Lightsaber Thoughts. This is rated for, I would say, ages 6 and up, the episode, as well as this video. There will be spoilers for the episode, really, the show up to this point, and potentially, haven't decided yet, everything Star Wars leading up to and including this episode. And yeah, another good to great episode. So, the, I think we'll just start with the first one. So, I thought, I like Anson still, so nice to see him some more. And it was a very straightforward, both of them very straightforward. The show in general, straightforward morals and such, but it works. Here we have this thing of, it is essentially this like critique of capitalism. Like, if someone pays you to do something bad, then you should choose not to do the bad thing, even if it might get you paid. I appreciate, it's Disney woke washing. They don't actually mean it. It's clear from their actions when they argue for these leftist positions. But hey, the kids aren't gonna notice, oh hey, Disney's being hypocritical. They're just gonna pick up these and internalize these positive leftist messages. So yeah, I'd rather they also practice what they preach, but for now, I'm just glad that what they preach is actually good. I think I'm not going to claim, obviously, I'm not going to claim that they always did preach good values, nor that, there's others making media that, argue for leftist values that actually also mean it, that live it, and that's better, obviously. Yeah, I think. Let's see. I quite appreciate it. We see the way Anson rationalizes. Early on he says, "Well, I don't really know that much about this worker, but I mean, he'll give it a better place to live, I'm sure." Well, have you checked? That's again, under capitalism, it would be nice if we didn't have to constantly think about every single little thing, but we kind of do, because some of the choices we make can contribute to climate change, for example. So yeah, extremely important to get that that value into kids at an early age. I think, does that pretty well bring us to the it was cool seeing was it Bosch again, and very clever to sabotage the ship to get on, and then it ends up, it actually falls off. It felt a little weird the way that they made a joke out of how Bosch tries to put up a fight, but he's not a very good fighter. I mean, okay, that's not really if he were an amazing warrior, that wouldn't make him right, though. I don't know, that felt a little weird to me. Yeah. Basically everything Anson says and does in the entire story, really, really loved. Right, and there at the end we see, they fix his ship for free, and he doesn't even have to ask; they just offer it. So that obviously does. It's one of those things where you have to be careful not to imply that doing good will always immediately have that effect, that other people will do something for you necessarily, and ideally a good deed. We should, you know, ideally we want kids to realize a good deed is its own reward. But, and again, I appreciate it's woke washing. I'm not saying they believe it. Technically, that is like I'm so bad at these. I'm still learning the terminology. I want to say co-op. Um, this I'll describe it, and people who know will know what it's called. This thing of basically if you do something, um, essentially like a system where we don't focus so much on money, but just like if you provide a service for someone else and they provide a service for you. Um, where today we have this system where there's a few people sitting at the top deciding how much the rest of us should spend on stuff that's sometimes literally stuff we need. That's how we have the whole housing. I want to say it's called housing crisis. So yeah, appreciate seeing that argued for here. This other system, the name of which escapes me at the moment. I think that probably covers. Yeah, again, not the first time we have the message that you should not take animals out of their natural habitat. But again, it's an important value, and kids will like they'll see something they think is cute and want to remove it from its natural habitat because they want to take it with. They want to have it as a pet. And it's very important to underline that's just not, you cannot do that, like it's one thing, domesticated pets is, they a number of them can't survive in the wild, but we cannot take animals that are not already, yeah, I've made my point. I'm going to move on. Yeah, really appreciated that he, by the end of the story, Anson is working with them. He's even offered, I'll double it, and they say no, but it's the wrong thing to do. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do the right thing here. I think, yeah, the action as usual is great, and they continue to do the clever. They have that get out of a higher age rating free card of they're just fighting robots. You can slice them up and smash them to bits, and it's okay because they don't, which is a little because like it has been established at least some droids do feel pain, even if you ignore the prequels. That appears in the original trilogy. So Lucas did not completely think through the ramifications of yeah um, good time to plug the Pop Culture Detectives video, The Tragedy of Droids in Star Wars. If you're old enough, I think that one might be more PG-13, not age 6 and up. Yeah, I think that covers the entire... right, I really like, Anson gets so into it that there by the end, like Liz is, of course, she's like, oh, me talk about an animal? Well, if you twist my arm... But Anson's like, oh, I know a fun fact about them, which, yeah, love that energy. And it's this thing of like he's genuinely enthusiastic about the creature, and it's also this thing of like, oh no, he knows one fact about this. He's going to repeat that one fact ad nauseum. Yeah, I think that brings us to the second story. Yeah, I've said it before in videos on other episodes. I'm afraid I forget his name, and my wrists are too busted right now to look it up. But yeah, the leader that in this episode, near the end, he says, "I'm off to go. I have an experiment to run." He's so awesome. Yeah. Also very straightforward. Anti-bullying and like, message with also the message of, yeah, bravery doesn't come from having something, dangerous. Because, like, at the end of the day, Sadie struggles to be brave even when she has the lightsaber, until she realizes that she can be brave without a lightsaber. Um, and it is like, we definitely, it's extremely important to get kids to realize, having something dangerous on you does not make you, that's not automatically a good thing. Like, there are situations, and the episode doesn't get into that, because, like, I don't know that kids should really. I feel like when you're 6 years old, the thing you should know about dangerous things is stay away from them. Later you can learn. You know, I I'm very much a pacifist, but I do appreciate there are times where having something, you know, a dangerous object, there can be, it can be necessary and beneficial. But yeah, not for 6 year olds. And yeah, by the end, she doesn't. Although, I realize it's a show where 6 year olds are running around with. Are they six? I forget if their age has been said, but I feel like they're probably around six. The younglings on the show. They are running around with lightsabers that at least sometimes can cut through things. It's a little on and off. Anyway, yes. It does end with, ultimately Sadie doesn't wield a lightsaber effectively, but she does, manage to intimidate Pack without one, even though Pack has a lightsaber. Very nicely done. And this thing of, like, yeah, you have to stand up to bullies. They're not necessarily going to stop if you don't. Yeah, I think that more or less gets us into. It does also feel the thing about, don't steal. Although no, yeah, because in an earlier episode there were, there's this. Let's see. Um, oh wait, you know what? I don't actually remember for sure, so I am not going to get into it. Anyway, yeah, the let's see, and I also quite like, in this, the Jedi kind of have including the younglings, kind of have the status that in our world, in the real world, like sports people do. So people will, flock around just to see them train, because that's essentially what they're doing. They're well. Let's see. Were they training, or were they actually, like, demonstrating? I forget, but something like that. And yeah, Sadie sees it and wants that kind of, yeah, and she wants to do that. And we do also see, even when she has a weapon, she doesn't, like, try to. I mean, there's stores around. There are some kids who would try to use that to, like, steal um, something they didn't need. And yeah, I am very much someone who, you know, when children are given sufficient love and they have security, they feel safe, they realize that they're safe. Um, the vast majority of them will, and they're taught empathy. The vast majority of them will be good. Um, when I'm talking about where, some might choose to do evil. Evil is always a choice. It's not an inborn quality of anyone, and everyone is capable of evil. So we have to be on the lookout for it. Um, yeah, the choosing evil is typically something for, someone who has been treated badly. Um, which doesn't justify it. But what I'm saying, so that's essentially, yeah, Pac has, I imagine, has probably not had the best childhood. So when she has a weapon, she tries to hurt Sadie with it. Let's see. And it is also very, as a child, you might think, oh, if I just had that object, then I would be, for example, brave. In this case, brave, and that's just not how it works. Um, I think, yeah, it was genuinely the good tension and suspense in the second half of the episode. There's some really great choices. This might be one of my favorites, at least the second half. Um, the thing with, she's like, oh, I got to get myself a lightsaber, so she starts, she follows the younglings a little bit, and then Liz is like, you know sort of playing with this animal, and it's like, no, you can't have my food, and the lightsaber goes flying, and so Sadie takes it and starts walking away, and then there's like, Liz says, oh, and we and Sadie think, ah, she's busted, but then turns out Liz was still, is still the little animal, and ultimately she does. They realize she doesn't have her lightsaber, and they rush after Sadie, and she manages to hide, under the was that the sewer? I hope not. But yeah, the oh right, I did want to note. Yeah, I feel like the creature from the first episode. It's great that they say, you should take this creature from its natural habitat. I feel like it probably sold a bunch of toys though. For kids, it's okay to buy the toy. That's not taking out its natural habitat, obviously. Uh, yeah, like were those pit droids? They looked a lot like pit droids. Um, I kind of like the pit droids. I actually played that game that I'm sure nobody can play anymore because it's from 1999. But they made like a Lemmings one with like yeah, you had to guide the pit droids and avoid them, you know, breaking. Yeah. Anyway, yes, and it was also clever the way they caught the Acklyrr. Um, what's it called? Cornering it and then luring it into the cage, and the repeat motif of it, you know, braying, I think it's called, making a noise to make it clear it doesn't want to be in a cage. It's very happy when it's just being left alone in nature. It is scared when there's people around, and it's upset when it's in a cage. So it's very clear. Yeah. Um, there you can't watch the episode and seriously make the case that, oh, it's happy in captivity. It's better off like this. Now, I think that does cover everything for the first. Yeah. So back to the second half. Yeah. She, like Sadie, when Pac isn't around, she's swinging the lightsaber very confidently. She really does have the move down. Like, I actually thought when she first does it with the stick right before Pac mocks her for it, as they're standing there doing it, I actually thought she was going to like trip and fall, and that was going to be one of the things that she had to learn balance or something. But no, it really is just, as soon, Pac makes her feel small, and that's the thing. Bullies are sometimes very effective at that, and that doesn't mean that you are small. It doesn't mean you can't resist. It just, yeah, you do need confidence for that. And as we see in this episode, sometimes that comes from other people affirming you. I think, yeah, I really liked Sadie. She apologizes and helps them get it back. And later, Kai is like, wait, I remember seeing Sadie, she actually was the one who, you know, took your lightsaber, and Liz, asserts it's okay. She apologized and helped me get it back, and that's such an important thing. for stealing, perhaps especially, but just in general, like it's important for kids to know, and for it to also be true. That's where the adults in their lives come in. If you do something wrong, apologize and try to fix it. I think there have been earlier episodes that also um, underline that. Um, yeah, I think I don't think it's a problem that they reuse messages sometimes. I still don't feel like any two episodes are just the exact same. Yeah, um, when they get to the place where the where Pack is. She sends the droids, keeping the Jedi busy, and also quite like Liz having to fight without her saber for a little bit. Um, yeah, I think yeah. So the other major, I mentioned one of the directorial things. The other one that I really loved here was we see Pack and Sadie twice basically face off. When at least when one of them has a lightsaber and perhaps the other has a stick, and there's a focus on her form and the way they move their feet and such, and it works really well. I forget what it is reminiscent of. Maybe it is like samurai cinema, and that is certainly George Lucas took some inspiration from that. Um, I believe he has straight up admitted, yeah, his camera is that of Akira Kurosawa, which is wonderful. Those are amazing movies, and I'm not recommending them to the 6-year-olds. When you get a little older, it's yeah, some parts of those are a little too intense for the but can definitely recommend watching those movies. But yeah, and the first time it's very much Pack in control. The second time, it starts out seeming like Pack is in control, has the upper hand, and in some ways she does. But then, we see Sadie sink her teeth into and really come through. That was a great, because she does, she is good at these movements. She just needed the confidence, and I think that does cover the entire. Yeah. Um, I One thing, I don't know why they say that. There's the thing about, well, it's a long story. Is it though? Because I feel like you just told it in like 11 minutes. I guess slightly less because the very end of the episode is still left. I don't know. Are they just gonna like? Because they say, oh, we'll tell you the story, but it will take a while. Are you just gonna like? How is it gonna be a long story? Are you just gonna pad it out with unnecessary crap that doesn't even change anything? Is this going to be the Batman v Superman of retelling simple stories in Star Wars?